energy. It is inconceivable that an individual could have at his disposal the sources of atomic power. Not doctrinal, but technical reasons today render economic life inseparable from the state. This does not mean that the economy necessarily becomes collectivist or totalitarian. For the moment, let us simply note that the indissoluble for the moment, let us simply note the indissoluble relation. So let's go back to this, right? So ideas of internet, right? Weather planning, right? Okay, industrial farming projects, right? Communications technologies, right? Like for example, okay, internet that communicates across different countries, right? And stuff like that, right? Or what about you know, obviously nuclear energy, and obviously they're going to add, things like artificial intelligence. They're going to claim that these things are, that these technologies are too dangerous to be wielded by a single person, right? That you need corporations that are regulated by the government in order to produce them, and then you need a regulatory arm in the government to manage these technologies, just like with nuclear weapons. So that you grow the size of the government, right? Okay, you grow the regulatory arm of the government. That's inherently socialist, right? So there's many ideas in which, you know, the in which they affect that, right? In which they affect the state. Okay, then he says this relation is admitted by many economists. Is it the result of chance or choice? Okay, I like this statement here. He says this does not mean that the economy necessarily becomes collectivist or totalitarian. For the moment, let us note the indissoluble relation. This relation is admitted by many economists. It is the result of chance or of choice, of neither exclusively. Nor is it the result of a managed economy. As Robert Moss writes, quote, with the development of the managed economy, it has become very difficult to trace a boundary between politics and economics, quote unquote. In reality, it is necessary resulting from the advance of technique. Technique plays an important role in economic life, but it has the same effect with reference to economic science. Now he makes a key statement. He says a relation is being established between technical progress in economic life and technical progress in science or method. Okay, let me read that again. It says a relation is being established between technical progress in economic life and technical progress in science or method. The two converge and end in identical results. End in identical results. Okay. Before examining this transformation of method, we must briefly recall that political economy has changed its object and almost its nature as a consequence of the enormous accumulation of economic facts. Economic facts have been rendered more numerous and more enormous. And this is not the least effect of technique in economic life. The definition of economic science has hence become more and more complex and comprehensive without seeking to note all the points of the curve. Let two definitions suffice for comparing the distance between the extremes. The first was given in 1850, the second in 1950. In the first, economic science was defined as, quote unquote, the science of wealth. Its object was primarily acquiring wealth and disposing of it. It was therefore an individual and private matter. The objective of political economy is conceived in such a way today that it is virtually impossible to encompass it in a formula. As Marchal shows, We have the problem of satisfying the needs of humanity, coordinating the available means of production, modifying existing institutions, and even transforming human needs. These problems must all be studied, not on the plane of the individual, but on the plane of the social group. And an effort is made to disengage the laws of these social groups. There is no need to go to the extreme and substitute for the organization of production, the organization of distribution alone, as Robert Moss appears to be doing when he writes, quote, from the moment production becomes sufficient, the essential thing is to distribute goods and leisure. Without going that far, it is easy, as Lang has done, to see the difference between a science of production of wealth and a science of administration of scarce goods. More and more, the economic fact covers all human activity. Everything has become function and object of the economy, and this has been affected by the intermediacy of technique. To the extent that technique has demanded complete devotion of man, or brought to light a growing number of measurable facts, or rendered economic life richer and more complex, or enveloped the human being in a network of material possibilities that are being gradually realized, it has transformed the object of the economy. The economy now becomes obliged to take into account all human problems. The development of techniques is responsible for the staggering phenomenon of absorption by economics of all social activities. And of course, you can imagine, the society that takes man as its technique, it makes man totally quantifiable, right? It has to, right? In order to make
Yeah,
economic decisions.
it's funny. Like there's a meme going around, or it's not really a meme. It's more like a talking point that people generally say. But they say like, I can't leave my house to do anything social, basically, for less than $100, right? Because everything has been commodified, right? Like you want to go, you don't have enough space to host your family in your house, so now you have to go rent a place, or you need to go meet in a common location, or eat out for dinner, or you know what I mean. Like there's kind of gone are the days of like 15 people piled into one house. I mean, at least for Whitey, at least like Whitey don't really do that anymore. So I think that's kind of interesting. Kind of what he's talking about in a weird sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, in this science, of like making the most efficient choices in regards to techniques, is, you know, he calls it the secret way. It becomes this, you know, the ideas of macroeconomics, right? Instead of microeconomics, which is how an individual can gain wealth, right? No, this is how social groups,
Well,
societies
well,
behave.
well,
Yeah.
well. Let me show you the neighborhood I'm in. This is one of the first developments in the world in America. Let me show you. Oops, hold on. Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me figure it out. So see all the houses kind of look like the same kind of. You know what I mean? They're like really close together. It's like it's pure efficiency, right? So you're not going to be like hosting a bunch of family and stuff like that here, right? Like it's just like it's extreme, like two garages. You live upstairs. So it's just kind of like interesting. Like just they just plan for like pure efficiency for neighborhoods and all that. And there's a whole history behind it. If you look up like urban planning and stuff like that, there's like a huge science to it, I guess you'd say, right? Like where they say, well, we're gonna make the ideal neighborhood, and we're gonna rewild the areas. I mean, if you look at places like the Bay Area, that's what it's all about. Like they've designed the place to be efficient for quote unquote nature and social activities and stuff like that. It didn't really work very well, but you can see that didn't stop them from continuing to try to do it.
Yeah, I think like Margaret Thatcher had this thing where she built like these houses that like all looked the same. It's like stretched for miles in England, where she like made like low cost housing for these people. and and yeah, they like check back like years later, and these people are like all on meth. You know,
Tower blocks.
yeah, you know, but
Well, it
yeah,
kind of makes sense. I mean, humans getting cooped up in a tiny little space is not really, you know, it's
I
not
think
really,
it's
we're
also
not
the
really made for
architecture
that.
too. And it's all this bland, like shitty architecture also.
yeah, yeah. I mean, where I was living in Detroit, there's just burned down houses. I mean, just in the neighborhood. It's crazy, right? And and yeah, the secret way um is this section here. We're on page 158. Okay, I'm going to introduce this section here, and then I'm going to take a little musical break here, right? Um, and then we'll continue. But yeah, he says here, we're on page 158. But another relation between technique and economy exists: the formation of an economic technique. Not only has economic science changed this object in its nature, but it has produced a technique which is simultaneously a method of knowledge, a method of action. Political economy has not renounced its claim to being normative. It seeks not only to grasp reality, but also to modify it. Okay, actually, that is what Marx said, right? He said philosophers hitherto now have tried to understand the world. He said, what if the point was not to understand the world, but to try to change it? Right? So he made revolutionary action his ideal. And he's been widely criticized for that, right? Marxists have been widely criticized for that, right? For, you know, dislodging the notion of social stability and traditions and all that type of stuff for continuing technical progress and making the pseudo eschatology of technical progress the center point of their quote unquote revolution, right? But yeah, it says political economy has not renounced its claim to being normative, right? It seeks not only to grasp reality but to modify it, he says. But the real relation of these two aspects of economic technique is obvious. By the way, from Hobbes to Locke to Rousseau to Marx, right? Okay, you basically have huge commentary on economic systems, right? Hobbes calls the state the commonwealth, right? Locke continues on with this and talks about basically proto-capitalist design, right? Rousseau basically engineers a socialist ideal from this, right? From Locke's and Hobbes' theories, right? Which then the scientific and revolutionary sort of system of communism or Marxism is developed through all of those preceding theories. But yeah, basically, Marx does not reject capitalism, right? Okay, it says the method of scientific knowledge as much reacts to the economic milieu and tends to shape it. But this technique is not neutral, quote unquote. It does not merely stand ready to do the bidding of any random doctrine or ideology. It behaves rather with its own specific weight and direction. It is not a mere instrument, but possesses its own force, which urges it into determined paths, sometimes contrary to human wishes. Economists, not understanding this, want to disengage their technique from its quote unquote neutrality and to bring it into the service of their ends. They reject the definition, quote, economics is a science of or technique of efficient choices, unquote. But when they seek to humanize the economy, they learn quickly enough that such attempts lead directly to subjugation of ends to techniques. Those who pose the problem of ends and propose a humane economy as their goal are the very persons who develop techniques further and enhance their specific weights, as Jacques Aventur, Aventur, has showed. But whereas the overpowering phenomena of the machine strikes home, the ways of economic technique are secret, and everyone remains convinced of the its innocuousness and docility. Okay, we'll move on with that in a minute, folks. But I created some jazzy, mixes earlier today. Maybe you guys will like this. Okay. This is one of them. The Drifter.
Full of fire in the belly, full of hunger pain. Uncontained rage takes hold till I'm numb again. Clear the air like summer rain. It's just another day, seen through the eye of the hurricane. Run away, train of thought, my sore knuckles say. Love and hate, puffing shake straight till I suffocate. B-boy, running J's till my brain's buzzing. Ain't nothing changed, decorate grey skies with colour spray paint. Tornadoes, fallen angel with a horned halo. Moonwalk on a rainbow, multiverse space ghost writer. Spit a day glow, one liner, the tongue tied long timer. Invisible ink specialist, I think devilish. Sipping on the alcoholic beverage, living with benefit cheats and no hopers. Stoners, deadbeats who sleep on their sofas. Socialite soldiers, glued to the Motorola. Worldwide like Coca-Cola, we network. Exert energy, their head not expert. Trench foot putting in legwork, the wordsmith. Still lifted off the first spliff. I levitate in space, let the earth drift. It's sickening, instinct without discipline. Living in a world where everybody hears but nobody's listening. It's like mission impossible, trying to hopscotch every obstacle. Death's never optional. It's the epilogue to the first chronicle. The black comic, the return of the drifter. Low on my jacks, phone roll like a wristband. Contents under pressure. Carry chapel, won't argue with a soldiers hold the coast stare like they never been scared, but live life like they know their time's precious and scarce. Beef could be hell on earth, better settle it there. And if our sins are forgiven, heaven better prepare. I'll bring a breath of fresh air, bless polluted lungs. Bunged up from the years, running zoots of skunk. I lounge in blues and clubs with abusive pugs. Useless drunks, junkies abusing drugs, and young bloods with the loosest tongue. It's too much. Old cats act up like they're losing touch. They get past, some are truly stunned. Another rabbit in their headlights, far too confused to run. I stay balanced like planets with the moon and sun. I need shoes on my feet and some food to munch. If you relate to that statement, salute me once. One love, one hope for the youth till the future comes. It comes now. I'm drunk and run down, sun up to sundown. Cause life is bugged out, some doubt us, but couldn't survive without us. Parasites surround us like close encounters of the third kind. Cyclops with a third eye, deep in my trees like a termite. Forgot the herb till it burns bright. Burn rubber on the turnpike, pray stays locked in my searchlight. Word life. The truth is now housebound. And all the snotty nose wannabes. Yes, yapping barking at my front door. Don't know what happened now. Yeah, brain tax on the board. No lie.
and this. Blessings.
What's going on? The Mike Lebanon, Teflon Dawn. Back, baby. The year of the nines. And I'ma have to make these motherfuckers an offer they can't refuse. You know? What's going on? Yo, come on, you know what's on. I roll a song, catch my flow on the Autobahn. Make sure the force is right. I floss all night, get off the mic, get it smoke like an exhaust pipe. Keep them in the library, studying my theory. My theory get translated to Swahili. From the lands far as Zanzibar. They understand the art, the man, the law. It's obvious why the copy is. They copy this. Soon as my data processes Y2K, they floppy this. Now who the hottest is? How can it not be this? Baby, who the cocky is? Poppy is, Rossi is. Hey yo, this be so magnifico. Even my typical style difficult. Make the crowd go wild when I rip a show. Better stand back, this a blow you didn't know. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to. Microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. You ever witness rapport like this before? It's Major, kiss the floor, say bitch my lord. It's the chosen one with the golden tongue. Flow for the old and young when I'm holding one. In the front row city, we show no pity. When kids get jiggy, girls are so pretty. The wanderer, back from Casablanca. The stomp bar with next Barada Conquer. So let's go, the best show will explode. No dress code, they just posing their best clothes. Girl get exposed when I show my rap expo. Will it be a next episode? I guess so. Those that have doubt, wanted a hag clout. What they mad about must be a cash route. MC switch they style from their last route. And I bet soon as they hear this, they spaz out. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. Wherever I can go, it's the guard tempo. It's simple. My MO, no problemo. Been all over the map, even know where hell is at. I get the welcome mat and then welcome back. My flow is raw, they treat me like Mr. Know-It-All. They want me to show them all my brand new protocol. Excuse them why, I make a move for raw. You ain't super raw, say the hoop for law. Let me find out, you rhymed out, designed out, pulling dimes out, climb out, with time out, I'm at the free throw, playing ball or CeeLo. I keep though, reloaded like Carlito, incognito. I be so low key, women get nosy. I do a show they wanna go see, they get to know me in the front row seat. They cozy, thinking I'm giving them the Bobo B until they OG. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever. They show me love when I come through. Yo, any club that I come to, I hear the microphone check 1, 2, and they know what I wanna do. Flow forever.
All right. And yeah, let me continue on with this. Blessings. Yeah, so he says, in order to grasp the nature of economic technique, it is first of all necessary to grasp the reason for its rise. One of its causes is so simple that I shall mention it only in passing. This is the evolution of sciences in general. The sciences in general in the 20th century have passed through a crisis of growth characterized by appearance of certain problems of methodology and technique. Economic science is likewise abandoning dogmatic positions and deductive methods in order to establish exact procedures. This may have taken place before the first first gropings of the infant science had borne definitive results. Many economists believe that the ideal science, which must serve all others as model, is physics, and that economic methods must be approximate the method of physics taken as general type, but not as specific means. Now, by the way, they have sort of applied a sort of physics idea to economics, right? And that's the idea of complex adaptive systems. And we sort of talked about this a little bit on the show, right? I showed you guys a little video, right, by the Jewish guy. Do you guys remember this video? Excuse me.
When was this?
Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Complex adaptive systems. Sort of a Taoist idea. Yeah, check this out.
Imagine an ant colony. There are a bunch of individual ants, each doing work to help support the colony. One ant is foraging for food, another is stacking sand on top of the mound. There's that one that's just not pulling his weight despite everybody else doing their job. Each individual ant seems to be making decisions about what it should be working on. Those decisions aren't complicated in themselves. After all, an individual ant can only do so many things. However, it isn't until you take a step back that you notice something even more interesting about the ant colony. The colony itself is alive. It has properties that can't be explained by the decisions of the individual ants. It moves as a whole, adapts to the outside world, goes on benders in Kaaba, and has a life cycle almost like a living, breathing organism. Why is that? If an ant colony is full of individual ants making their own independent decisions, how is it organizing itself into a predictable and coordinated system? Think about the fact that without a government, without Congress, without any centralized power, an ant colony is able to create stuff like this.
The paths branch and lead to many fungus gardens and rubbish pits.
Which is kind of incredible when you think about it. Yeah, really cool. All right, Ben, can we just wrap up this ant talk and get to the Bill Hwang memes and losing money in the stock market already? Yes. Right after we talk about this. What is a complex adaptive system? And how can it help you predict the stock market, the crypto market, and the whatever this guy is screaming about market? Starting in 1870, wolves in Yellowstone National Park were hunted by park employees in an attempt to eradicate all predators from the park. The idea being that by removing the top predators, the ecosystem as a whole should thrive. By 1926, the last wolf pack of Yellowstone had been killed.
Bad move.
Yellowstone in 1995. Deer everywhere. Deer around every corner. Deer destroying the vegetation. Deer fucking on the path as you were trying to walk around. Recognizing that this deer fuckfest simply wasn't sustainable. Yeah, that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. The US government realized that in order to control the deer population, the proper course of action would be to release more wolves into the park. Wolves, being the natural predators of the deer, would help regulate the population and thus rebalance the ecosystem. So in 1995, 14 wolves were released into Yellowstone. However, over time, something really interesting started to happen. As the wolf population grew, deer started to avoid certain areas of the park. The riverbanks and valleys that had been destroyed by overgrazing deer began to regenerate. Beavers came back to the rivers. There was an explosion of mice, hawks, foxes, and bears. One tiny adjustment in the system's conditions caused a profound change. However, something even more remarkable happened. As trees regenerated along the riverbanks, their roots stabilized the soil, protecting against erosion, narrowing the channels, and in some cases, quite literally changing the path of the river. So you're saying that bringing 14 wolves into Yellowstone changed the actual path of the rivers? How many edibles did you eat before researching this? Absolutely zero, only a few. But how does this relate to the financial gambling market? Yeah, there was that Wolf of Wall Street guy, but I didn't know he got released into Yellowstone. Let's think about the example of the wolves. I can tell you exactly what a wolf does. It looks for food, eats, sleeps, drinks pints with its wolf friends on Friday. That's basically the extent of its life. Yeah, there's some howling, some random walking around, but in essence, a wolf's entire existence isn't made up of any incredibly complicated decisions that we couldn't predict. Okay, so if that's relatively predictable, let's just add the deer fuckfest into that equation. After all, we can predict the actions of a deer fairly easily too. And if we can predict the deer, we can also
10, where researchers tested the efficiency of
Slime mold.
aggregation is called a slug, which can be between 2 to 4 millimeters long and composed of up to 100,000 cells. It moves as one unit towards attractants such as light, heat, and humidity, looking for a suitable place to settle. And once it does, the reproduction process begins. The slug flattens onto a surface, and some cells develop into 2 to 3 millimeter stalks, while cells at the top of the stalks develop into fruiting bodies that contain spores. What's weird here is that these are still technically individual cells, some of which had the genetic fate to turn into a stalk, some with the genetic fate of turning into spores. And only the ones that become spores get the opportunity to reproduce. The ones fated to become stalk simply die. Spores presented in this way are then dispersed by soil invertebrates, and in the right conditions, spores germinate, produce amoeba, and thus complete the life cycle. Slime molds like this are true evolutionary head-scratchers. Almost always in an organism, the multicellular stage arises from a single cell, a fertilized egg. This ensures that the cells of the organism are derived from a single genotype. All of these cells are on the same team, so to speak. They all agree on the goal of passing down their shared genotype to the next generation. In slime molds, the multicellular stage is a combination of many unrelated genotypes. Viewing these slugs with the same lens of natural selection that we view everything else in the natural world, these different cells with different genotypes that make up the slug are not on the same team. In any given slug, selection favors the cells that take unfair advantage of the altruistic cells. So much so that the selfish types of cells should threaten the existence of any altruists. And yet, both types of cell continue to exist. How this self-sacrificial behavior continues in the face of conditions that should select for its elimination has baffled scientists for years. The other major type of slime
But yeah, why the individual cells are chosen in the selection process, right? And obviously, complex you know, quote unquote decisions are being made by the slime mold in terms of it'll find all possible ways to do something and then it'll kill off the least efficient ways. So it kind of explains that.
Well, I can tell you that that's pretty much exactly how they're looking at humans and trying to figure out, like, okay, what kind of people are conducive to what we're doing, what kind of people are not conducive. So I don't think it's really about depopulation. It's more about, this kind of thing, like how many
Well,
selfish people do we need? How many worker bees do we need? How many, blah blah blah.
Right. Obviously, if a certain group is going to have servants, you can't, just unalive everybody. You need enough people to have servants.
But that's the thing, is that they can't really predict exactly, like, if they're trying to go from here to like transhuman utopia, they can't predict exactly how they're going to get there, right? So
No, I don't think
you know,
anybody would be able to.
so they're trying to like hedge their bets. Okay, and I think that's kind of where the overabundance comes in too. It's like, I think a lot of these things we're looking at with the economy and this and that, it's like these are road bumps along the way of trying to figure out like how are they going to get from here to there, So
it's saying that the first problem that has to be let go is this idea of deductive principles that inform, how we plan the economy. Right? He's saying that the first thing that's going to have to go is that economics itself is going to have to become a inductive empirical science, right? That is, using facts on the ground, right? Observations on the ground, right? And an actual quantifiable, um, you know, categories and
so like pure Aristotelian logic, essentially, right?
yeah, it's got to go. It's got to move to things on the ground. So it's got to go to that. And in that, he says it's abandoning dogmatic positions and deductive methods in order to establish exact procedures. And this is how it becomes like physics. It says at the same time, economists feel as a kind of challenge. He says, the effectiveness of their system. Nothing has exposed the vanity of political economy better than their contradictory diagnoses and therapies for economic crises. For some, the cause of crisis is an unsaleable surplus of goods. For others, insufficiency of production. For some, it is the excess of savings. For others, a lack of them. And as far as the proposed remedies are concerned, some economists would raise the discount rate and others would lower it. Some hold that wages must be stabilized and others demonstrate that they must be lowered. Such contradictions can only arise from a defect of method, and the economists bitterly resent the ironical attitude the public has toward them. One of them recently wrote, quote, "The public believes in the physicist and it has no confidence in the economists," unquote. Policymakers absolutely cannot rely on what the economists say, nor follow their contradictory counsels with respect to action. All this then made it mandatory to replace the regime of theories, which gave birth to nothing but opinion, with a rigorous method which sticks to facts. Everyday logic cannot embrace more than a limited number. Oh wait, I skipped a whole bunch. It says the need to stick to facts became more imperative as the facts themselves become more complex. Right here again, the effect of techniques made itself felt. The facts of economic life could be grasped directly when economic life was still relatively simple. When the economic phenomenon, for example, at the end of the 18th century, presented a picture which, in magnitudes and elements, was compatible with the direct experience. But the enormous growth of the economic milieu has made the direct apprehension impossible and brought about the decline of corresponding modes of reasoning. Everyday logic cannot embrace more than a very limited number of data. It was therefore necessary to invent a method corresponding to increasing complexity and amplitude of economic phenomena. At the beginning of the 20th century, a quote technical state of mind unquote appeared which developed mightily towards mid-century. This state of mind was characterized first of all by an effort to make a hard and fast separation between what is and what should be. The doctrinal character of economics was completely repudiated. The sole interest was in matter of fact. The goal was simply to know scientifically, to accumulate facts, to put them in mutual relation, if possible, to explain them by means of one another. You know what? You know what's very interesting is the idea of statistics and sports betting, right? How statistics basically overtook sports analysis, right? And this is because for the first time ever, they had accumulated massive amounts of data on what all of the point systems and all of the achievements of every single athlete, right? They had finally tabulated it inside of a system, right? To where you had all of these, so obviously ESPN became the, like the board that had all the statistics, right? And soon that statistical analysis became the source for betting, right? And now if you look at ESPN, the most lucrative thing they do is planned sports betting, right? Where it changed from something that promotes sports and something that promotes those various leagues and stuff to something that actually creates, businesses based off of the statistics, based off of the sports statistics, right? So it's actually fascinating that, because moved past a billboard the other day and it said ESPN Bet. And they have a whole entire app or channel or something where it's all about betting now, right? So it's funny because obviously these simulated games are run by these computers, right? Using these generated statistics, and that's how they create these fantasy leagues, right? And of course, you're betting on simulations, right, of games.
That's
If I'm not
wild.
mistaken. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's how it's run. I haven't participated in
But
it yet.
I'm sorry. What is the betting happening on? I'm sorry if I didn't catch it.
It's
But
cell
you're
phone.
talking about
It's
medical?
cell phone. Yep. Wait, what are you talking about, Anna?
Is it betting on medical um stuff
No,
or
sports. Sports.
oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, sports betting. Huge now. That just it's just an industry that grew in the past few years. To a huge size. Right? Yeah, there's yeah. So okay. So he goes on to say, political economy is no longer a moral science in the traditional sense. See, there it would be deductive, right? Or more in line with deductive. You know, um, sort of logic, right? The predetermined principles, right? Presuppositions. Right? It has become technique and has entered into a new ethical framework, which I shall define later on. This represents a decisive step for the creation of a technique. The technical state of mind is likewise evident in the creation of a precise method, which more and more consists in the application of mathematics to economics, and in the precise delimitation, of a sphere of action. In effect, in order for a technique to exist, method must be applied to a fixed order of phenomena. In the transition of doctrines to technique, the central idea was the distinction between microeconomics and macroeconomics as okay, so this compulsion towards macroeconomics, right? This is the key thing, right? Not focusing on methods of how an individual gains wealth. right? But focused on the Commonwealth as, to put it in Hobbesian terms, right? And there, they were very, especially um, Hobbes and Locke and um, the Federalist Papers, Hamilton and Madison. They sort of use this term of enterprise, like the Star Trek Enterprise, right? But they talk about enterprise, being something that the government creates the conditions to foster, right? That is sort of a private business, right? But the government creates the conditions that are necessary for people to go and enlarge the wealth of their neighbors,
To be
right?
you can be chartered as a corporation to go out and do the
Exactly.
will of the.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of talk about this. This idea of enterprise, corporate enterprise. Okay, how the state creates the perfect conditions for corporate enterprise, and how enlarging wealth is the goal of the state, right? So the idea of economics and capitalism is, like Franklin and Hamilton, all these guys saw that as one of the main things.
Why? Let me ask you a question. This is kind of a weird question, but why do you think? Why is this guy staring at me?
Gang
Maybe that,
stalking you, son.
Yeah, actually,
it kind of felt like it, honestly. Go,
Franklin wrote a
go
book
ahead.
called The Way to Wealth. It's a very famous book, but yeah.
This guy was driving past me, and then he looked at me. Then he looked at my license plate. Then he looked away. Then he looked back, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, okay, interesting. Anyways, um, so yeah, I was gonna ask, why do you think that they made some weird Broadway play about Hamilton? What do you think that's all about? Like, why do they glorify Hamilton so much? Like, I always hated Hamilton, and I didn't know why, but that's a side issue. But I was just kind of curious if you
Hamilton
had some
was a
thoughts.
Freemason, did you know?
Yeah, Hamilton was the guy who was he was very rich. You know what I'm talking about?
Uber
Hamilton.
progressive, very rich. Only
Yeah.
missed out on presidency because he was born in the colonies, right? I mean, they play up the black angle, but I really wonder how black he was.
Yeah, he was known for murdering a lot of Native Americans and starting a lot of businesses, and very successful ones. And I think he also had a duel with a dude. Something like that.
Isn't that funny though? So they portray him as a black guy, or something like that, right? I don't know. That's pretty funny. But yeah, that's always just funny. It's like all the people go see, like, I'm gonna go see Hamilton, and I always just found that like bizarre because, like, I don't know, the way I was educated about the founding of America, Hamilton was not a good guy, But maybe I'm biased over here.
Yeah, but it's interesting. This notion of enterprise, the Star Trek Enterprise or Enterprise in the Federalist Papers. It's kind of a um, or this idea of Commonwealth. What do these terms mean in the 16th and 17th centuries, respectively? Right, when they're inventing these terms or using these terms, right? Right.
Enterprise usually is associated with land grants, right? In that
Right.
endeavor, but also with things like the East India Company.
Right. Right. I think Hamilton had some part in that too. Well, yeah. Yeah, it says this represents a decisive step for the creation of technique. Okay, the idea that it enters into a new ethical framework. The technical state of mind is likewise evident in the creation of a precise method. More and more consists in the application of mathematics to economics and the precise delimitation of the sphere of action. In effect, in order for technique to exist, method must be applied to a fixed order of phenomenon. In transition of doctrine to technique, the central idea was the distinction between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, as in the work of Francois Perroux, a leader of this inquiry in France. Perroux, Perroux. We have here a decisive situation. Microeconomics studies economic phenomenon at the human level, where the relatively humane traditional methods can be applied, where individual decision is respected, but where the complete application of technical apparatus is not permitted, either with respect to method or with respect to action. The observation of facts on the microeconomic level does not ipso facto entail action. And to promote action is one of the principal characteristics of techniques. Even if microeconomic inquiry is useful and congenial, it nevertheless appears to have no future, because it pertains to a limited world of the individual. Macroeconomics, on the other hand, opens all roads to technical research and application. Technical application presupposes, as we have already noted, measurable magnitudes, elimination of errors of judgment, and amplitudes of movement wide enough for technique to have an understandable object. They are precisely the characteristics of macroeconomic inquiry. These are precisely the characteristics of macroeconomics, right? There's no doubt that the methods of macroeconomics are still somewhat uncertain, and many phenomenon are recalcitrant to it. For example, scientific techniques applicable to revenues. Nevertheless, this is a domain of this is the domain a priori of technique, and we can be assured as a consequence that this is where the really effective force will be concentrated. We are likewise assured that microeconomics, far from being an element in the foundation of macroeconomics or a complementary element to it, will be absorbed. It will lose its reason for existence to the extent that macroeconomics develops shorter techniques.
What's up, G?
Greetings.
What are you doing, man?
G as in Freemasons.
Oh, G. That reminds me of that meme where it was like gay.
My OG.
So wait, is there an American Pope now?
Allegedly.
Proudly an
You know more than
American.
me.
Yeah.
Huh? Did they do it? The conclave is done.
Yeah.
He's from
Yeah.
Chicago. From
No
Chicago, man.
way. That's
Oh my
crazy.
god.
Is he black?
Nope.
Whitey or what?
Yeah, he's white.
He looked a little bit Latino, maybe?
Italian.
Oh God.
Italian, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he another Jesuit?
Don't know.
I know the last one was the first Jesuit Pope,
He was
supposedly.
he was in Archdiocese in Peru for like 13 years or something.
He was
until 2023.
he was installed by Francis, I read or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he
he
has to be a
really likes
Jesuit.
Francis. His middle name is Francis.
He's
His
got to be a
birthday
Jesuit.
is Pope Leo the 14th.
Yeah, but I think his name's Robert.
Yeah, Robert Francis
Robert.
Robert
Prevost.
Down
Prevost.
syndrome Jr.
Damn.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Dick.
well,
Why you gotta be
another
such
heretic.
a downy?
Another day, another heretic. You know.
What do you think, Gunsy? What are you feeling about it?
I feel like, you know, the title of Pope was an honorary title because of the capital of Rome, and that's according to Canon 28, and that, you know, they haven't been right since 1054.
It's just
Yeah.
a
We got
puppet head office anyway.
6079 Smith. Chica, go away.
Yeah, he's Augustinian, supposedly. Whatever that means.
Bible,
Where's the
Beibull.
Yeah,
Where's
Smith's probably losing
the
his mind at this point.
Oh yeah, right. Where's the gray pope at?
Hey, somebody do the Goy Matria on the date of the Pope choosing or something.
It was today, May 8th is when they finished.
Oh,
Spaghettio.
you know what that means? 5 plus 8, that's 13. 13 plus 2025, that's 38. That's 2038.
Pope Bob. That's pretty crazy. Pope Bob.
You got Jim Bob, now you got Pope Bob. What the hell?
Pope Bob, wait.
Oh, Bob.
Doodle Pope.
Doodle Pope.
Pope Bot. Pope Bot.
Pope Bot.
We're gonna so don't worry. Probably the next one's gonna be an AI Pope, because he'll be more fair and
Next one is it could be this one.
Machine Pope Bob.
Oh boy. Well, I was gonna say this really briefly. I came here for one message, by the way.
No.
You know, it's not just the Jays, guys. It's the Catholics. We got to get them damn Catholics. Them Catholics are the problem. Okay,
Damn Koopliks.
Not the everyday. They don't know
where's
shit about what's going on. The everyday Catholic.
Well, they got the Ushas. They got
Same for any
Ushas in the
group.
White House. The Indian Hindu with the JD Vance. The
Yo,
crypto
is she Hindu?
Catholic.
Is Usha Hindu because she could be Catholic?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're trying to make it like they're trying to merge Hinduism and Catholicism into one thing. I pretty much have come to that conclusion. They're trying to merge it into one.
Gonna have me some spaghetti.
Where have you been, man? Don't you know what the World Council of Churches are?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're like externalizing that out now.
Just now?
Well, my point is, like, think about it. You got Theo, allegedly a Catholic. You got JD Vance, allegedly a Catholic. You've got Jared
Biden.
Kushner, the Chabad Lubavitch. You know, so you got a nice little like conclave over there.
Well, yeah, well, Biden, you know, by the way, a lot of
Maybe
these
you're
guys,
AI, Neuro.
Maybe
You just had a glitch with your tone.
they're Knights of Malta, you know what I'm saying? Like Templars. And
Oh
you know where
shit,
their
son.
allegiance is, man.
Well, we should start looking at Peru now too, because if this guy was staying in Peru, maybe they're getting ahead of the cyber caliphate down in South America.
Was Francis from Argentina? I forget which South American country.
I don't know, but that sounds. I thought he was Italian, man.
He might be Hitler's
Maybe.
grandson. He might have been Hitler's grandson. You never know. Argentina, come on now.
Chill.
Chill, Winston. It's only Plank.
No, they're really running that psyop. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, that Hitler he had survived. He was in Argentina. He had some kids. Blah blah. Yeah.
Oh, I think he survived. Whether he had kids, I don't know.
Dude, why are you guys always against the mainstream narrative? I don't understand.
Guess who went down there to confirm it? Tim Kennedy, aka Tim Kelly, aka the guy who was friends with the guy who blew up in that Vegas thing. So
Okay.
The hell?
You never heard of Tim Kennedy, the UFC fighter, the
Yeah.
Navy SEAL?
Maybe vaguely.
Yeah, his last fight was with Yoel Romero, and he kind of got robbed a little bit. He said that broke him.
No, but I'm telling you guys, like this whole the whole Catholic Jew thing is like, it's really the thing that everybody should become aware of right now, I think.
Is your son providing Twilight music there or something?
No, that's the AI. That's the AI robot in me. It's having a split personality right now.
Energy performance.
I'm pretty damn sure they put some chemical acid rain here, y'all. I feel like shit.
Homie.
We saw it coming in like a wave of black magic, like some Voldemort shit.
That's crazy.
People here are crazy. What can you say? I wonder, is it that bad in New York?
It's pretty bad. I lived in Bushwick for about 2 years. Sucked.
But Bushwick is not in the city proper, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, I see. I see. People are nuts. They're hysterical. So.
There was giant rats, and
oh my god.
Yeah, like everybody had like really roach infested apartments, but they dressed really nice, like fancy.
Yeah, it's the thing is like you can drive your Audi through shit, but you're still driving an Audi through shit. You know what I mean?
The rats were dealing drugs. The rats are the drug dealers.
Master shredders.
You mean the purveyors of disease?
That too.
Master Splinter, yeah. Well, you know, Pill Eater is now the king of Bushwick. By the way, he's
that's the only thing left.
Well, he's become stalked by the entire elite of Bushwick right now, and
I believe that, dude, and that
legit,
does happen.
legit.
No, but he wanted attention, no? He was out here crying for attention. Now he's got it. What? Now he's crying again? Come on, get over it. Be a man.
Well, I mean, the Jays own like almost all the apartments there, so and it turns out they can just walk in your apartment and take pictures anytime they want to.
They probably got a dossier of you in the shower right now. They're probably watching it.
I don't know. My room was clean that day, boy.
But is it also like at all hours of night people are drinking, drugging, all of that? Like there's no, the city never sleeps kind of deal?
Yeah, of course. And what's weird is like windows are always open, so no one has blinds.
Oh yeah.
Well, Pill Eater Pill Eater was there last week, and he said, I won't tell his story for him, but I'll tell you this. He said, basically, it's like walking into like a satanic coven, and everybody's in on it, and you don't realize it. Something to that effect. You know what I mean? So.
No, it's true. My roommate downstairs had like a statue of Pazuzu, bro.
What does that mean? What is that? Some kind of entity?
Yeah, like if you ever seen The Exorcist, it's like they have a statue in The Exorcist. It's literally like a a demonic statue that was in The Exorcist that attracted flies or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
Hey, one time, like maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, I saw like a demonic mask hung on the wall of somebody's home. And their home was really clean, you know what I'm saying, right? Like upper middle class, clean home. They had invited me for lunch. It's older couple, professors. And the mask was just looking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here? It's like all the room was just seeming like an illusion made out of black smoke coming from that mask, or it was like kind of like it was slow, or it was making them dull, like the couple. It was
Was it
making them
African?
dull. It was breaking their marriage. And then I was gonna tell them about it, but it was like, don't you fucking dare. Like it spoke in my mind. Don't you dare.
Wait. So was
Um
it an African mask?
no,
What
no.
kind of mask was it?
Um it was some kind of tribal, but not, it didn't seem authentic. It seemed like someone is in pain. Like the mask was of somebody in pain.
Yeah, because like there's like Baki rituals. You know about those? Where like
B
certain
A
tribes
C
will
C
like
U BACCHUS.
I guess so, maybe. Baki? I thought it was Baki. Baki.
Okay, it's different entity.
But the Brazilians have something similar as well. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But or
Santeria.
Ifoga, I think it was called Ifoga ritual.
Santeria, right? It's like a
Basically,
Santeria type.
right. Well, they'll like slit a chicken, it's like throat
Oh.
or something. Watch the bubbles in it to
Well,
like
these people were Christian. They had kept it as a decoration.
right. Well, there's a lot of items like within quote Christian homes that are really like attached satanic things to them. There's a story about
Yeah,
this
but
monk.
it told me that I could not warn them or it would go after me.
Yeah,
So I went to their friend and I told her, "Hey, tell them to remove that mask. It's killing their marriage. Tell
yeah, it
them to
sounds like
remove."
a demonic entity. Um, you know what's interesting about this? There was a monk who had a book in his cell, and the Virgin Mary was visiting all these other monks in their cells on the Holy Mountain, on Mount Athos in Greece. And this monk prayed to God and and asked the Virgin Mary, "Why won't you visit me in my cell? Like I don't understand." And she appeared to him and said, "It's because you have a book in your cell with two heretical passages in it from a Nestorian heresy." So items like that can keep holy things away from you and cause demonic entities to attach to you. A simple
Absolutely.
book with two passages kept the Virgin Mary from entering the cell. It's crazy.
But sorry. So even in those times,
Oh, what do you mean?
like you're talking about biblical times and the Virgin Mary, right?
Right. Well, even before that, like there was never not a time, like as Saint
Well,
Augustine
no,
said.
he's talking about in modern times. I'm pretty sure he's talking about a time that this wasn't like 1,000 years ago, right?
No. Like a monk on Mount Athos. This could have been. I think that was early 1900s actually, where this story was coming from, like
Oh,
1920s, something like that. But but yeah, in the past too, this goes back thousands of years as well, where idols would keep holy things from entering, or whatever.
Do you have like a dowsing
yeah,
rod
because it
for
was
heretical
pushing
items?
it was pushing the professor to seek like young ladies to cheat on with the wife. I
Mm.
later realized that was the whole purpose I had been invited.
And what I will say is like a demon can tempt us, right? But it's us that gives into it. You know what I mean? It's like you can be tempted, but
Correct.
um, we always
Correct.
we
Yeah,
always have a
you make the
choice.
idea your own, and then you convince yourself that that's what you want.
Right, because what Satan tends to do is he masks himself as ourselves, you know, if that makes any sense. He'll make you think that that's your thought.
Correct.
Have you ever been in one of those moments where you're tempted to some deadly sin and you think it's you?
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
Have you ever been in one of those moments where you think it's like your mind speaking to you, like do this or something, and
Yeah, but I don't want to say it. I said no. Fuck you. That's what I said.
Well, yeah, it's usually, what though, you ever heard of like maybe like someone that's schizophrenic, they'll tell you like this something's speaking to me or whatever, like, those type of things. That's usually the
Oh
demonic.
yeah, man! Like those, the new age people are full of those kind of folks, and they're usually on heroin or some shit, and they think they can move matter with their mind. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's kind of how the demons work. They'll tempt you with the drug first of all, and then the
Yeah,
drug,
asshole was
opens up
like, you don't
passageways.
believe. He had the gall. Okay, this fucking asshole had the gall to tell me, you don't believe. You're blocking my force. Like that's why I can't move the leaf.
The force is with him, okay, and you were blocking it.
Did you guys cosplay for May the 4th?
Yes, I was a Jedi Knight.
The Jedi's were the bad guys. The Empire was the good guys.
You're right. Um, what?
Yeah, I was being surveilled on every street corner in Singapore. Yeah, I guess that's a cosplay.
Darth Jar Jar.
I actually believe that. I think that's actually there's a good case
But there was
that you
one
actually
time I was told to be inappropriate with an animal, and if
No,
I did
son.
it, like I would not have pain in my body, huh?
See, that's psycho.
And I said no, I wouldn't do it. Like,
Yeah,
and the pain increased.
that,
Until I,
that's
I think I even passed out. I think I passed out. That's what happened.
that's kind of like what the Antichrist will do. He'll appear as if he's like healing people, but really he'll be the cause of the pain.
No,
It's
but
like
what that
stabbing
told
you in
me
the
is that
back,
you're
giving
the
you like,
one, whoever is speaking in my mind, you're the one that caused this, so that I'll come to you. So that, I
oh.
mean, that clarified things up for me a great deal.
So here's something like I was told by a clairvoyant monk one time. He told me that there's three types of thoughts
There's
from.
somebody in the back. Sorry. Sorry, Nancy.
You're good.
who's the furry.
What? Okay, so there's three types of thoughts. He told me. He said there's thoughts from God, thoughts from the devil, and then there are carnal thoughts. And our carnal thoughts are like I have to use the bathroom, I'm hungry, whatever, right? But thoughts for God are usually like for your own good, like for something of good quality in your life. And then thoughts from the devil are always like off yourself, or you know what I mean, like do something evil, like and the way to combat these, this is a practice among the monks, is the Jesus prayer. And why is that? It's controlling what thoughts go in your mind. So if you're constantly repeating this prayer, there's no room for these satanic thoughts to enter. And then when they do enter, you'll know where they're coming from because you're
Correct.
always focusing on God. You get it?
Because you know the voice of God.
Right, right. It's unbelievable too.
But also,
And
you can't hold two thoughts in the mind at the same time. So it's kind of a hacking way to keep those things away.
right. And what's interesting about it is like, let's say you were having some type of evil thought going on and you started doing the Jesus prayer, that would instantly leave you, you know. It would begin to dissipate. Or despair, like if you were experiencing despair or something. um it's really interesting. This is
But it's
something like
not
I'm
us,
trying.
right? It's the entity. It's the entity that's despair, not us.
Unsane, unsane. Didn't the government try that with same-sex stuff? Look how how well that worked out. You can't pray away the gay.
Sure, you could.
I think you could understand it. See, the thing is, we're over sexualized since we're little, and There's all this like male to female, female to male. How much confusion comes about even before adolescence? And then
Can you
how about we look at the abuse that's happened in all those gay people? Like, they looked at that stuff in the 80s, but I
can you
mean now it's a choice, I think. I don't even know what the rhetoric is anymore.
can I ask what kind of animal it was?
Chill, son.
No, I have this theory that the devil tries to use certain animals for certain things. You know? Like if you notice, like the whole
Cat,
furry thing. It's
cat.
funny that
It was a cat.
Or
no.
like,
Okay, interesting. That's interesting. So I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. That sounds like Egyptian shit or something.
well, the
But
devil does use animals like snakes, for instance.
Like a
right,
Hathor, whatever. Hathor, they say. No? Cat
right.
deity bullshit.
Now, how does a snake speak? You guys ever thought about that?
Well, I know. I
So
know.
according to us, the animals were sentient before man fell.
Well, according to Harry Potter, he can only speak to certain peoples.
Well, the understanding, an orthodox understanding is that the devil actually possessed the snake. That's how the
That's
snake
right. That's
spoke.
right. Well, you want to speak that apostle tongue, some of that Sayahasiyah. That's right there.
Unseen, what is it? The devil does what?
What?
Say that again.
What? No, don't do that spell again. Hey, unseen. What does the devil do to give them the ability to speak? What did
He
you say?
possessed the snake.
Oh.
So he's appearing as the snake. He, as he's possessing it.
But if all animals were sentient before the fall, didn't the snake have to let him in? What is this? Three little pigs let me in.
Well, see, we got to think about like this. That
Sorry, it's good.
yeah, it is absurd, but so stupid. But when we really think about this, is like God's a good God, right? And he's the father to the devil, whether we like it or not, right? And it's like
You
that
mean whether
in
he
his
likes
love
it or
for
not?
us, and it's like you're putting us in paradise, and you're allowing the devil to tempt us. And now, why would he allow that? Because it's like without a test, man, you're just like there. You get paradise, and that's it. And you don't have to like obey anything that God does, says to you. You know.
That's right. Just like the human school system where they passed all the kids from one grade to the other, even though they failed all their SOLs. That's right. Without a test, you won't learn nothing, right?
I mean, I would say like what? I mean, if you have everything and then God tells you one thing, like don't eat from this tree, and that's it. And the moment that something comes up and there's like, hey, eat from that tree, you'll become like God, and you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And what's even wilder about
No,
that,
it's like this lie of becoming like God. It's more about being with God, right?
which we
Than
were,
matching him.
in the garden, like we
Well,
walked in
first
in
of
the
all, has
cool of
it
the day with him. And what's
unseen?
insane about it is, even
It's never been
after they ate
established.
from the
It's
tree,
never been established. Did Adam and Eve, or quote unquote, the first two humans, have the mind of a child, or were they
no, they
developed
were
with a
grown.
fully grown
They
man?
understood what
Oh.
they weren't spiritually ready to eat from the fruit, but they were adults, and understood that they shouldn't eat from the tree. And how do we know that? Is because they were smart enough to make up a lie, to you know
But how
which
would
they
they
knew
know
was
what
a
a
lie.
lie
But
is?
God offers them the chance to repent of it. That's the thing. When he asked them, he said, "Did you do this?" And then Eve blames man, and then man blames Eve, and then Eve blames the snake, right? In that
Yeah,
moment, if they
busted.
would have repented, they would have never fell.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that they chose fig leaves and not poison ivy.
I don't even think poison ivy and stuff existed back then.
That's
After
not
the
true
fall,
because
that happened.
The Bible said that the earth made thorn and thistles.
Right. So I would assume that poison ivy would have came up after that time, right? When the thorns and thistles came.
And then after that, only the menstruation and childbirth pain, all that came too, right?
Right. Right. And before this, like, let's say man couldn't drown. Animals wouldn't attack men in this state. Fire wouldn't have burnt you, like, and even after the fall they were still at, like, they were like still like taller. They lived longer,
That's right.
because they were closer to the
At one
time
time
of
you
the
were
fall.
At one time you were Doctor Doolittle. You could talk to animals.
Well, at least they would have listened, um and they wouldn't have attacked us, you
It's
know what
just
I'm saying? But after
different.
that,
It's about
everything just
being
kind of
in
goes out of the way.
tune.
You said what?
I feel it's more like being in tune. It's not like a miraculous phenomenon that you can understand what the animals need or what they express.
Right. You got to think, like, Adam named all the animals. And I always think about this as, like, if you named a serpent, it's like serpent. The name itself designates what it is. Like, that's a high level of, it's like man was at a state where,
That's right. When Adam named elephant, he knew exactly what to name it. Wow.
I mean, yeah, because he had the, like the divine, like a divine knowledge. He was probably smarter than, actually, he was smarter than every
explain the
human being ever.
platypus, man.
He was the smartest man of all
What's the
time, and he still
platypus?
fell.
Come on, explain that one. What was God thinking when he made the platypus?
So you're saying even the smartest man alive listens to women?
Well, he was the smartest man alive for sure. There was never someone smarter than Adam, because he was so
I'm
close
not
to the
taking
time that
that bait,
God
Nero.
created
Keep
him.
laying it down. Lay more bait down for me not to take.
What are you laughing at, douche?
No, I'm laughing because she caught that I was laying bait for her. But that's it.
She caught. Oh, all right, I see. You're an idiot.
Well, I was gonna lay down some more bait. Okay, let me lay down the other bait. The other bait was like, so what unseen saying is that God is kind of like George W. Bush with the No Child Left Behind program, where he put in standardized tests.
Nero.
What are you talking about, man? No child left. I don't even get the joke, honestly.
Because he won't leave any of us.
Anyway, unseen. Do you support Gulf War?
No, George W. Bush put in standardized testing to measure how the schools were doing or whatever. That's why.
You know
You were
what's so
talking.
crazy about this is, like, I have the feeling you guys just think this is like a storybook or something. Like, it's not, fool. Tell me.
No, unseen. I 100% believe in Jesus Christ. When I sit here and say that he saved my soul all them years ago at 9 years old, I meant that. That's
Boy,
100%.
you and your pre-list, man. Get on my nerves.
I know. It's okay, unseen. I'll see you at the pearly gates, right?
I hope so.
I hope so too, brother.
But see, you're supposed to say you're the biggest sinner. You might not be there, or you're.
Don't tell me what I'm supposed to say, Neuro. Worry about your own, like, ho boy.
Get him unseen.
Well, I would be one of them sarcastic Christians and be like, well, the demons do it enough. I don't need anyone else nor myself to do it. The demons do it enough.
Neuro, are you forgetting I'm a monk, dude? Have some respect, bro.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mr. Furry.
If you're a real monk, you have to get a friar haircut first.
I think unseen might be one of the only true monks around.
Oh, don't. All right, I'm not gonna take that bait. All right, hold on.
But no, I was gonna say though, let's just get Mr. Furry Fox over here to go to the furry convention and start recruiting. Get them out of that cult.
Yeah, good luck with that. What's wrong? You don't like paying all your Gamer Girl subscriptions?
Y'all make light of the most serious things, huh?
I mean, I make light of it because I know that I can go out there and try to convince people that there's a Jesus Christ all I want. It's not going to convince people of anything other than putting a bullet or a rock in my head. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could just take my shirt off and just crash the furry convention. You know what I'm saying?
pretty much.
Well, I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry, I got the furry thing in my mind now. Oh my god. The pre-last.
I've been trolling a few of their groups here lately. They got pretty violent, so it's funny.
That's just the animal side of it coming out.
That's right. It's that primal instinct.
You must have run into the mama bear.
Nah, these people were more into the unicorns and dragon type shit. These people were much weirder. It's funny, they come in sections. It's like the people who do the dragon and like more mythical creature stuff are a lot more darker and violent than the ones that are like just into the normal stuff. It's weird.
The normal stuff? What's the normal
stuff? The cats and the dogs.
Cats and dogs are normal, but dragons and or
I don't know. Let's go ask Janet.
Hey, this furry shit started with PDF file stuff, right?
Well, they're trying to. Well, I can tell you from my research on Facebook and the many times that I gathered evidence. Well, one, they don't even hide it on Facebook. They'll sit right there and make the actual groups. Like one of them was called I Love Tens, and it's like underage AI, you know what? And
homie, I feel like I gotta go clean my soul, dude.
Dude, it was bad.
Ugh.
But let's just put it this way: some of the pictures that were on there, like they weren't sexually explicit, but these were probably real children in some very compromising clothing. I reported it all to Facebook. One of the guys went in the comment section and said that someone's on to us. The page disappeared. Facebook, of course, said nothing goes against our, community standards or whatever. But when you go through like the mutual friends of these people and you start going to their mutual friends and then their mutual friends and then their groups, like some of this shit got so dark. And Facebook just lets it right on there. And no matter how much you report it, it's like nothing's done about it. But they definitely protect them on there, that's for sure.
Well, it could be part of the thing where like they want to keep it up so they can monitor who's doing what too. That could be part of it. Could be like ongoing investigations and shit like that. That's what I've kind of figured out too. Where it seems like they allow it to some degree, and then they're probably selectively busting certain.
Yeah, just for blackmail.
Well, it's got to be obviously selective because it's still going on. So, I mean. No, that's the world you live in, where this stuff happens, and people just go about their daily lives.
Forget the groups. This PDF stuff is so common, and so much among women. People don't even realize.
Well, how do you think this relates back to the technology thing? Because do you think that the technology expanding only helps it, or helps hide it, or it can be used to like actually stop what they're doing, or
no?
What do you
of course
think?
not. It enables, hides, and even justifies it. Like it's an illness, right? It's a mental illness.
Yeah, I would have to agree with it. It justifies it. I mean, that's how, from what I've seen on just YouTube alone, probably pushes one of the most violent algorithms I've ever seen. YouTube, I mean, not YouTube, Facebook can have a pretty violent video algorithm. I've seen like actual people get killed on Facebook. Okay. I'm talking about like a year ago when that father and son was executed right there on their doorstep by that dude because he, had a pair of scissors, whatever. And, the dude executes the dad and then just walks up to the son as he's shot and limps away and bleeding and just executes him right there in the head. Like, that's right there on Facebook for everyone to see and people laughing at it. I mean, same thing with 9/11, There are some memes I find funny. I'm sorry. There are some memes that I've seen on 9/11 that kind of make me giggle. But then, as someone who broke down crying, watching the videos of these people jumping out of the building, it's fucked up. But I can tell you, there's a lot of people who didn't grow up during 9/11 who, are so heartless about it that if that was your family member or my family member, how would that make you feel knowing that, there's thousands of people on the internet who wasn't even old enough to experience it back then, like I was or y'all, and, just see it as another ha-ha until it happens to them. Same thing that happened at the track meeting. So, I mean, that tells you right there what kind of world you're living in. Everything's, they want you to be emotional and violent, but then they turn around and then you can't get on YouTube and make a video with blood in it, right? Or you have to bleep out a word. Like, you can't even say a teenager's age no more and it gets bleeped out. But you get on the news and you can see where, India's dropping bombs or Pakistan's dropping bombs. So, I mean,
Y'all, that shit looks so fake.
Well, it is. Ain't it convenient that every single time there's someone shooting a mortar or shooting a bomb or doing something, there's just always a cameraman. Remember, the trope?
Yeah, but the footage also is conveniently blurred. The footage is so blurry. And here on the news, they don't even fucking try, dude. They play the same audio track again and again, so you can tell the video's looped. So, what the heck is it? High unseen.
It's like my grandpappy used to say about the weather. They just call the next weather station and let them know that the weather's on the way. So there you go.
Yeah, it's also a little bit of hype because there's been an ongoing conflict in that region ever since it was established. So it's nothing new that there's war going on in that particular region. There's been war going on continuously between India and Pakistan in this one particular region. So it's not actual
Since 1947.
Yeah, so it's not an actual notable fact that just a couple of bombs were dropped recently. I mean, there's been hundreds of bombs dropped that were never reported.
Yeah.
All right, so this is actually a weird thing that they're. It's actually notable that they're reporting. Yeah, they're trying to fan the flames of war.
Yeah. And these games like Call of Duty, like that one that just came out, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare one, the one where you can accidentally shoot the baby or whatever, that one right there. I mean, the games like that. Someone like me who grew up during the Afghanistan war and all these different games are trying to get you to hate Middle Easterns or Russians or Chinese people, and then you sit here and you get a game that's now modern times, and it's like they take real life events and they change a few names, they change a few locations, and that's about it. But it's basically in your face what's really going on, and it's like, oh well, maybe that's because they're creating the fucking conflict, you dumbasses. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't little factions and places where people are doing their own little guerrilla wars and stuff like that, but a lot of this stuff is manufactured. I mean, the same bombs and guns and planes that certain countries, even the poor country, use are the same ones that other country uses. I mean, who the fuck do you think's selling them? How does an extremely poor country that, people claim can barely keep electricity on in the hot desert is able to sit here and afford, 15 to 20 aircraft carriers that would
after that region's already bombed to hell, supposedly. It's been bombed to hell already.
On top of, lands that's already been bombed since I've been alive, going on now 20 years. I mean, it's been about that since 9/11. So, yeah, I mean, they sit here and they constantly tell you, oh, it's climate change, oh, it's this, but every single day on the news you're hearing it's, a new conflict or, Russia's still at war. It's always something different to keep you distracted, divided, conquered. And then, I mean, obviously it's working. I mean, all you have to do is get on YouTube or Facebook or go outside your door in most populated cities, and you can just, I don't know, man. You got a lot of people who just aren't trying to do anything about it. What about my carbon emissions? I don't drive a car, so I mean, except for my breathing, I don't really produce much carbon monoxide. So I mean, what? You still gonna, maybe eat the bugs? It's concerning. A lot of this happened in the course of, at least when it comes to political history and what I call gay ops, when it comes to how countries and all this special ops and black ops stuff has been going down. A lot of the stuff that they put in these games is just barely scratching the surface, like how they sit here put in your face that they used MK Ultra during the Cold War. What a lot of people just don't want to admit is that the truth is, y'all, that there probably is a lot of sleeper cells throughout the United States and other parts of the world who are MK Ultra and are just ready to go whenever. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but it seems like the human race's mentality and psychological issues it's not just spiritually. I mean, obviously technology is playing a huge role. Someone like me can go and play games like Hitman all day and play VR and, destroy the digital people in the most fucked up ways imaginable, but in real life would never actually go out there and do any of the things I've done in a video game. But there are plenty of people who don't have that type of mentality. And it's just, that seems like that's the kind of mentality that they're wanting from people. Oh, be another Bill Gates and allegedly release genetically modified mosquitoes. I mean, what y'all give it? What, 3 years before they completely try to take away people's freedoms? What, even then? Would it even be possible to completely subjugate the human race all at once?
Well, I think that's what this whole show has actually been about. Is like they're not actually going to go and overtly do it. It's going to be like they just need a good excuse for this or for that. I mean, this economic problem happened. This economic problem happened. This economic problem. It's like
yes, but how large scale would a problem and reaction solution? I mean, it would have to be on a scale where it not just affects like one or two countries. It would have to affect half of the world, if not all of it. And I mean, unless it's Ronald Reagan's, if we face an external threat from the stars, then I mean.
Well, they already tried that. They already did the test run for that in the past 5 years. So I mean, it's not that much of a stretch. It's not that much of a stretch for it to be the next thing. You know what I mean? So I think.
But then, what would be the next step? Because you're going to have people who obviously certain like-minded people like us who are going to look up at the little, little green beings coming out of their spaceship with dicks on their foreheads and just be like, well, no thanks. So, I mean,
well, look at the last 5 years, though. I mean, did it matter if you're against it or you see through it? I mean, I don't think they care. I think, in fact, they want people that can see through it because it creates like some sort of false. I mean, not false, like it's real dissent, but it's like
it's the resistance, like in every other movie, like in V and everything else that has a resistance to whatever's happening. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the resistance is kind of like what they want. Like it's like if they can't get the real thing, they'll manufacture it and then use it as whatever. I mean, like look at Alex Jones. It's a good example of that. Like he's like the ultimate resistance model, and people say he's a shill, this and that, but again, it doesn't matter because effectively people are using his talking points and his frame of reference, and so that they can work with that. I guess is what I'm saying. Like they could find a way to work with that.
So either A, these people have been setting up their homestead in a certain part of the world, or whatever, years prior while telling everyone what they're about to do, or B, they really can go to Mars and they're going to leave us here. It's going to be one of the two, right? Are we going to Elysium, everyone? Are we going to be Matt Damon?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, everyone says that I'm a LARPer and that my connections make no sense, but I'm just waiting for it to hurry up and get done and happen.
You are a LARPer, bro.
I know, man. I believe in a God that's not real and a man that never was nailed to a cross. Damn. But
take it back.
I can't take back my existence. Unfortunately, I was brought here, of which I had no control.
Take that back.
May the power of Christ compel you. But, I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, yeah, because someone like me realistically has no power to do anything against, I'm not going to be John Connor, get it, JC? I'm not going to be no John Connor and, go out here and lead some resistance against the machines.
Why not?
Well, because, like in World War Z, I got a bum leg. And this son of a bitch, he stands here while 7 or 8 of them all turn Zeke all around him.
Are you a Christian or are you a Hollywoodian? Because all you talk about is movies and video games.
Because I like to present to you, a.k.a. your subliminal messaging. It's just I'm the only one who sees it. But yes, I believe in Christ. I'm a Christian.
There's only one thing that can break through that, and that's not.
Well, no, my job is to see the subliminal messaging because Jesus Christ and God say, let him who have eyes to see, let him see, and ears to have ears hear, and I'm able to pick up on the devil's messaging.
Okay.
I've done it my entire life.
Wait. Are you able to go deeper? Are you able to travel to the last, past, the deepest point of the rabbit hole? Are you able to do that?
Hey, how do you have a photo of my apartment complex? What's up, machine? You got me tracked or what? Yeah, that's a FEMA camp I'm living at.
Right, I wonder when the U.S. government's going to use all the ones that they built back during Hurricane Katrina. All right, that's a LARP too, allegedly, right? Just like the guillotines and the caskets.
Hey, man, I was walking in Virginia one time, and it was near Stonewall Jackson's grave. I found his grave out in the middle of the woods, and there was a house out there, and it was painted all black, and there was coffins in there. And someone told me that was like
I was about to
coffins.
be like, is that prawn? No, that's just from Fifth Element.
FEMA coffins, bro.
What do you mean? You found coffins stacked? Not like a mausoleum, but...
Yeah, it was like an all-black house, right? Out in the middle of the woods, and there was a tarp covering a gate, and then there was like a barn there, and there was black coffins stacked in it.
Could have been vampires, like just sleeping in the house during the daytime.
What I was told, it was FEMA coffins.
It's all them godforsaken moonshine.
What does that mean, FEMA coffins?
So supposedly, like when a natural disaster happens, then FEMA has all these like coffins stored, for mass death.
You didn't establish the connection during Hurricane Katrina. Well, I'm sorry, right before they didn't use like a good few, maybe not 100,000, but under the 100,000 mark. There was a bunch of coffins that they didn't use for the dead bodies in Katrina, where they sit in the military and also let the military shoot at civilians on the bridge. So that way they'd go back into Hurricane Katrina territory and die and drown.
Right. Didn't Chris Kyle say he did that or something?
Yes, which don't even get me started on that fucking American psyop. But,
what do you think? Did he actually do that, or was you think he was lying? But it actually came out that
I think he was a secret. I think he was a secret ops agent that did a lot of things, including but not limited to, didn't actually kill Osama bin Laden. But he's not Obama, and Michelle's not a man. Sorry, I'm doing the American Psycho Christian Bale walk as I'm doing that. Sorry.
You need to rid yourself of nihilism.
Nihilism. Oh,
yes.
I'm so sorry. I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet.
Okay. But anyways,
on a serious note, you should, for the sake of your offspring. You really should.
I'm always serious.
It's high time.
Especially-
It's high time. Come on, get your life in order for the sake of your child, if not for you.
For the sake of my child, Anna, well, what's the point if the fucking rich elite are just going to fucking unleash a virus that can just boop? I mean, there's only so much protecting you can do. Do you have $1 million, $199 million to go build a bunker underneath your house?
Money
No, you
is
don't.
not going to protect anyone.
No, it's not. The only thing that can is my faith in God. And whether God says you're going to watch the sun go out or I'm going to take you up in the clouds, that's on him.
After the judgment, by the way.
Yeah, but children model the behavior of their parents.
But my
And if
child-
you keep down
my
this
child-
path,
my
you're
child-
leading him
my
down the
child's not
path of
around me when I get on
destruction.
the internet to LARP to the masses.
But yeah, the whole FEMA coffins thing, that was real, by the way. That's real stuff. That's crazy.
Is real.
Whoa.
Maybe I should take the stance of Neurojack and say, how about a woman not tell me how to be a father? No, I'm just thinking.
You
Well-
can say whatever you want.
Well,
No,
I think what
it's
she's
a-
trying to say is like you should at least have some happiness and share that with your child.
I
think that's what she's
do. I make my child laugh all the time. He's just like me. He's a splitting fucking image, Chinese and all.
You're wild, man. I'm not
I'm
judging you,
I'm a
dude.
free
Like,
spirit.
you know,
I'm
I
a
think
free
you're a funny
spirit.
dude.
That's what I am. I'm saying. I profess my faith and love in Jesus Christ, and I do my best to be the best human being
Well, then come
I
to
can.
church, man. Come to church. Come
I
visit.
don't need a
Let's
church.
go
I don't
fishing.
want to go and stand with a bunch of hypocrites who, if you ain't dressed like them, go and fucking turn around and say,
Man,
like,
what are you talking
"Woo."
about, dude?
Well, have you ever been
look,
to a modern day church in America? Okay,
How do
well,
you
in my
know-
city, like 3 of them are gay, so I'd rather not.
look, man, just come to where I'm at. We'll go
Oh
fishing.
well, as soon as you pay up the shekels.
How many shekels do you need?
I don't know where you're at, so, and I'm never getting on a plane because God didn't give me wings, and I ain't getting a boat because God didn't give me gills.
Dude, you're weak, bro.
Yes, I'm weak because I don't want to take the chances of an aviation device going down in the ocean with me and my
Man,
family.
what is the percentage really on that?
Might as well get on a hot air balloon and go around the world in 80 days.
You would actually like it. You would actually like it here in the services. It's
I'll put it
really
this
cool.
way. I appreciate the fact that I was born in America, but, you know, if I could just not live on Earth, that'd be great. No offense to
say
anyone
that.
here, but I could give a shit less really about.
Dude, there's
being
so
on Earth.
much that's good that outweighs the bad, really, man. There it is.
I'm sure it does until you remember all the innocent children and people in the world who are constantly murdered and raped and
Perspective,
destroyed every
man.
day by the devil.
Perspective
But,
and timing, dude.
perspective.
You know,
See,
and like,
you still haven't
There's
learned the
no
real ways of
suffering
God.
beyond death.
look.
I mean, how do
see?
you know? Maybe according to God, death was a relief for them.
Okay, so how would you need to be happy, but if a woman's been kept in bondage for 20 years and raped for 20 years by a captive, death is her fucking grace.
Why are
Okay,
you thinking like an atheist, man? Stop.
I'm not. I'm waiting for the singularity called God to come down and have a conversation with me, but
That's
apparently
not-
I ain't special.
He
Oh.
can talk to you only
Oh.
if you open your heart, and your heart is closed.
So
Hey, there's a
27
great book
20
on that. It's called
27
God's
years,
Revelation to the
maybe
Human
not
Heart.
27 years. Sorry, hang on. So
I think we need an on-air exorcism stat.
All right, here we go.
20 years of belief and praying and him saving me at 9 years old is my heart being closed off. But some guys,
Salvation isn't a
unseen,
one and done, though,
'cause
man.
he
It's a lifelong
reads-
process.
Yeah, you didn't
He reads the
graduate from
saints.
Christian college, and that's it.
That's right. God said I must go to a school of man in order to become like Christ.
God said that He created a church.
Reading the Bible is not good enough. You must
The
go to
Bible's
my
a part of
gold
the church.
walls. You must worship my gold idols.
You
of
know,
white
simply
men.
simply speaking to unseen has given me such a gift. Just one story from that he told me changed my perspective. These are the small things. Yeah, we can't
But-
control the material world. So
but-
what?
But it didn't change your perspective enough to make you believe in Jesus Christ, so it was still pointless.
I believe in Jesus Christ,
Oh, do you? Okay.
and I do
100%
pray
that
to
he died on the
Jesus as
cross.
well. Yes.
Okay, well then you got a chance compared to all the other people who claim the exact same thing and yet turn around and are hypocrites and all the other
Ah, man,
wonderful
chill
names.
out. Chill out.
Well, I'm just
Hey,
saying.
what does that mushroom say right
in
there?
today's time, you have to be very careful with how you speak to certain people because, if they have a different religion, you might be racist now if you say, well, you don't believe in my white Jesus Christ, so therefore I'm racist.
He was kind of brownish.
Yeah. Tell that to Jim Bob.
And you know what? There's a letter that said he had
Since when is
reddish hair and blue eyes.
Since when
You're going in and out, Anna. Oh, it's the aliens. Bing bong.
does Jim Bob count?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming with Jim Bob, he probably believes in white Jesus, not the brown Jesus.
Damn it.
You know what's interesting though is like after the resurrection, he appeared. They thought he was the gardener. Remember that? So whatever state he is in now, I think it's kind of like he can go through walls and appear. He can take on different appearances, I think.
You want to know how you know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? It's because he was a carpenter. And what did God do? He built things. Oh.
Carpentry is great, by the way.
I did it for a few years. It is very relaxing when you're not almost cutting off your hand with a saw. But yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, I like
I
it.
can see why Jesus loved it and why he probably would have made some of the most beautiful tables and chairs you would have ever seen. So
I used to do cabinets and countertops, and my dad does like some architecture work, and my stepdad was a carpenter as well. So I've done some woodwork in my life. It's pretty fun. The salted cedar, that's not so. Christ was a carpenter. I don't the whole stonemason narrative. That's a masonry.
well, you could just not believe in any gods or multiple gods and get paid by the Jews to do it. Which one? Let's go ask K Reno.
K Reno.
I'm just gonna say, look, y'all. I think it's a little funny that I had that conversation with K Reno about Lil Nas X and did he sell his whole and his soul for fame? And then, like 2 weeks later, Lil Nas gets a little paralyzed on the side of the face. But whatever, there's no coincidence.
Wait, you had a conversation with K Reno?
I've had 3 conversations with him now, not just on chat where I've recorded him replying to my channel, but I've had 3 conversations with him. He only gives you about 2 minutes to talk, but yeah.
It's more than most.
That's why my LARPing has intensified because I can ask questions and get my answers without like how when a president comes in for an interview and they have to hand him the questions before he answers them.
Well, here's something interesting. The church that is owned in upstate, where is it? Woodstock. So, my synod that I'm under, the jurisdiction I'm in, we own a church that's in Woodstock that Bob Dylan got married at. It's kind of cool.
These memes are getting wild, bro.
Medusa.
Right? We need our Project Bluebeam already. Come on, government.
Project Blue Ball.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's gonna be like the polar bears losing all the ice, gonna have to swim a few miles before they find land. Oh, that's right, they're drowning.
Project Blue Meanie.
Blue meanie. Hey, you know that show's kind of weird, man. I think there's some conspiracies about. I was thinking of the Smurfs. Never mind.
If only Robert Williams hadn't put that bag over his head.
Dark.
Mm. Not as dark as the Vatican, but you know, they're covered in gold.
Robin Williams, like I don't know if many people know this, but his stand-up comedy is pretty hilarious.
People said the same thing about Bob Saget, but you know, look what he did.
I don't know what he did.
Openly joked about graping a doll that's supposed to look like one of the Olsen twins.
That's so weird.
That's messed up.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of Steens, and they sure do have a lot of pastimes.
Oh man.
Well, maybe it would be like the day the Earth stood still, and they'll turn on little nanobots, and they'll start consuming everything.
Jesus turned into groundskeeper Willie. That's ridiculous, dude.
That's right.
You're just responding to that gardener comment.
Well, that's what they said. Remember, like, okay, so they're walking from the tomb, and Christ is behind them, but he's in a form that they don't recognize. And then he says something to them, and then they like immediately it clicks, like this is Christ, like, you know. And then
There's
like
your
I think he
next
sits
thumbnail
down with
pic.
them, and he disappears, and then he appears on another Sunday. And Thomas, doubting Thomas, is like, you know, I'm not going to believe unless I stick my finger in his hand and feel his side or something.
That would
and then
be a
Christ
cool
allows
band
him to
name.
do it.
That should be a band name, Doubting Thomas.
Let's make it.
What I
You
want
play
to
the
know
bongos.
is how would you
All right,
have
next
felt
one.
if God had sent out bears after you because you made fun
I
of a
just
bald
ate.
man?
I don't need that.
Is that why women choose the bear over the man or whatever?
That looks crazy. It's pretty blasphemous.
Well, you mean like all them Hollywood movies that I laugh about, like The Nun?
Yeah, that's pretty messed up too. But I mean, they're all Catholic, you know, so they're already heretics. In my book.
What's wrong? You don't want to pray to Mother Mary? Come on, sister.
We venerate her, homeboy.
I don't know. I was told to direct my prayers toward Jesus and God. But
oh yeah, who told you that? You Protestant pastor Bob?
But no, I never listened to preachers. I learned from the Bible. They told me to speak directly
the
to the
Bible
Lord Himself.
Only, Bo. The Bible only.
That's right. Them false pages. Them written by them white men.
I only listen to the KGV.
That's right.
And Pastor Bob.
Prison
knows.
Yeah,
you guys, this is supposed to be a safe space.
Okay.
I haven't been
this. Have you guys done a review
lately,
on the last Gospel of Thomas? I have the book, and it's considered. I think it's considered as a Gnostic text. I'm pretty sure, but maybe not. I don't know. I have to look into it. I know the Coptics put out a text on it, and there is like passages within it that are biblical.
I don't know. A really rich banker Jew from New York told me that Jesus was made to control me because I'm a Gentile.
I mean, he would know, right?
Right? Shekel.
I guess that's why
I don't think so.
Second Temple Judaism was so vehemently against Christians, right?
Like, it's too easy to make that kind of claim.
And it's a very modern take, by the way.
Well, I think, to be honest, Reddington, the only real reason why that Jew said it to me was because in his profile picture on Facebook, he's sitting in probably $100,000 car, and while he's wearing his little small hat and everything. So I just thought it's funny. It's like, yeah, God's people, but here I'm in a fucking $100,000 car. Okay.
What the fuck?
I called him the synagogue of Satan, and that's basically what he replied with. And he's like, we created Jesus Christ to control you Gentiles. I'm like, oh,
Is that a pregnant man?
Damn.
That's not just any man. That's Muscaman.
There's no way that's fucking real. And if that's real, there's something seriously fucking wrong with that dude.
No, that ain't real, dude.
I mean, it's sort of close.
It's almost real.
Oh, look, Stargate and CERN. That's what I'm talking about. Open a portal to the nether realm.
Powdered Dusty.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's got to be a thumbnail pick for another show. Excuse me. So many choices. Nice. Speaking of robots,
now, see, in today's society, watching this right now here, people, what about this is entertaining? Now she's rocking a baby. Okay. Now she's shaking a baby. Okay. See, what about this is entertaining? Oh, that's right, you mindless, godless creatures. Oh, do a flip, break your neck.
What the heck?
Uh-oh, she died. Oh, no, she's doing spread eagle. There you go. OnlyFans. Look at my pussy. I mean, I was going to say pussy, but yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's probably a robot, though.
Oh, she's a synthetic, according to Reddington.
I mean, just look at her face. It looks like a cartoon.
Now she quacking like a duck. There you go. Rocking my baby in a treetop. Yep. Yeah, that's fucking mentally retarded. Oh, God help us all. Allegedly.
Shut up, boy.
Look, I want to be like Andrew Wilson and make money off of all the brainless fools who make money just like she does off of them, okay? I want to be like him. I want to be like Daddy Android.
Oh, that's an old one. I think they said it was fake, though.
Yeah.
I saw
Android.
I saw a newer one recently, and that one looked fake too.
There's a place somewhere around.
But they are possible.
Where you can go and see them. They have little plaques where people saw them back in the early 1900s or whatever. And it's them UFOs, little aliens. It's the Galians.
Gay ops from the Galians.
Maybe that's what the Earth really needs. Maybe we need a kaiju to come out of the fucking ocean. Maybe that's really what we need to pull the world into a new world order.
Cthulhu.
Run! It's because you are! No, it's not, because it's copyrighted.
You know what's kind of interesting about that is that the Bohemian Grove has they've done a midnight summer, which is like uh, what is it? It's Shakespeare, but they've also done like kind of like The King in Yellow. You ever heard about that? It's about a play, and in the middle of the play, all the people go insane by the second act. Um, but I think they've made references to that, and they have like their guys dressed up in like yellow robes, and that's supposed to be like the King in Yellow. And they have posters as well of this, and that deals with like the Lovecraftian like mythos or something.
Well, I mean, you want to get a bunch of people to work together, just go and create some freaky ass chimera in a lab somewhere. There you go.
There's Shildrew Fedson.
Oh,
Childrew Fedson.
Not there, but the one on top. That was before this one.
no, some lesbianism. I'd buy that for $1.
That is crazy. Oh, it's a trike.
Yep.
Still pretty crazy though.
Fly off of that thing at about 90 miles an hour. Go right ahead.
How do you even line of sight seems pretty small in that.
Hey, don't assume that the intergalactic species can't drive a motorcycle. I'm sorry, tricycle. There you go.
Yo, look at Alec Jones' Twitter account. He says, "I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Kansas man films bizarre black ring in sky while riding motorcycle. What do you think it is?" It's just like a black ring in the sky, dude. It's some craziness.
Uh-oh. It's a black spot. Black spot.
What is that, dude?
Maybe it's where Satan blew out his fart.
That's got to be demonic, dude. What is that, bro? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's wild, dude. Oh, I gotta do something.
Yeah, blessings.
Later, guys.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to say some closers here? Gonna basically go eat, and that's pretty much it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do some other things. Um, you know, we may read Nietzsche. We may get into some panel discussions. We'll see how it goes. Obviously there's 3 videos. I mean, actually not videos. A playlist, 2 playlists and a channel, right? So this is a set of videos here, right, that we made while we were banned. Here's another series we made, not while we were banned, but we've been working on it for a little while, right? And here's another alternative channel in case you're wondering where we go if we get banned, right? Because we're not an organization or a channel. Okay, we're not associated with any organizations online. Okay, we're actually just the organization and time and effort of one individual, right, which is the Machine Lies, right, which is me, Muhammad, right, and of course in collaboration with many of our friends here, right. But you know, most of the direction of this thing has just been basically a solo project. But yeah, anyways, blessings, guys. Thank you guys for being here. And yeah, would you guys like to say anything to these people?
I'll just leave with a Bible verse.
Yeah, for sure.
Ephesians, be completely humble, gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. It's the best you can do, right? Bear one another with love. Love you, man. Be blessed and try to have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. I love you too.
Easy.
Yeah, blessings.
Reddington, you too, if you'll accept the blessings. Peace, man. Everyone be good. Be safe.
For sure. Yeah, peace be with you, brother. Yeah, and what about you, Reddington?
Maybe we are our own popes, you know, blessing people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't really care about this new pope. It's just, you know, puppet office as far as I'm concerned. As probably example for the last, what was it, Pope John Paul the First, that was only there for 30 days and somehow he ended up unalived. So some shifty situations there. But yeah, peace and blessings.
Yeah, peace and blessings to all you guys. And thank you for joining us here on the Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow. As I said earlier, right? So we'll figure out exactly how to place that. We'll probably make that another sort of the type of stream that I usually do on Tuesday night, where I open up the panel at the beginning of the stream. And yeah, we'll figure out where to go from there. But yeah, here's some music for you guys. Let's see if I can find this here. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, let's do this one. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bless you.
Bring it on! You can set the mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos will let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set the mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos will let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set the mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos will let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on!
Even be getting more graphic. Neo, ready to make computer chippies. Let me clean my lips and then I'll spit it out, go ahead, spit it out. That itty style you up top. Better leave my butt fucking season the way it appears to stuck up. This is my terminology that strikes the mind. If this is being approach, you know the many styles I choose from the start. I flow awkwardly, that's awkwardly. I throw that to the rhythm. Incisions are made into the brain and then I begin to give them a lobotomy. Follow me, when your brain. Give me the PH, give me the AR, give me the OA, give me the HE barrel. Crazy boys and tip arrows are hitting you from all directions. You cannot dodge, I manage to dislodge them to the point in which they are connecting. I am selecting little staff out from how to them people try to get fuck wow. Fuck that. When I'm state of mind, I'm innovative. Never been afraid of rocking the microphone, I'm prone to be eliminated. Cling when when I sing a song of sixpence. If it makes sense, then sing along. Cling along to my nuts. If you got guts, then bring it on. Bring it on. You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on. You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on. You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter ego will let you penetrate. How you fucking fall? How you fake? There's no more than one consider me to appear me a rhymes within the text. Execution is parallel to them with the inception of the organism. My telepathy can't be dismantled, so stop sweating me, getting me back while outdated raps get trampled. 3, 5, 4 steps of elevation show that I'm ahead of your time. Behind a dope rhyme, ripping shit up that prime time. I push prime time material, imperial wizard, a vocabulary havoc. I eat MCs like cereal, that's soggy. Milky skills like Mr. Miyagi. When it's foggy, release groggy, this remains the rap of the lobby's odds. Ow, rip your neck shit, get thick, quick, get your crew before I do. Something gory till you quite feel to stop. And it's your rap and wax, time and knife. It's the fifth dimension of the typical, never typical, and attention. I'm mystical, rip till the power blows, those shows to compete. Observe defeat, descending down from above. Just like the diction picture you. Victorious, the story is, you're born. Bring it on. You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on. You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on.
What are you doing? Right now, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. Yes, sir. Put change in his cup. Weatherman. Where's that weirdo with the fucking kazoo? Hey. Sharks in a dunk tank, vipers in a garden. Locusts stole the groceries out the local farmer's market. All God squared his whole position. Some are violent, some are victims. Each alive is an equal and vital piston I support. So when the piranhas on to New York, my daddy long legs dangle to mangle for sport. And while I bring in every dink in the kingdom with open wings, it all boils down to them shit-soaked pigs. The pigs, the pigs, the dregs of what y'all aim for. The gluttonous muddy stomachs under the pudgy cake hole. The two-track brainiac views in the food and payroll. That chew up and consume every cookie, crumb and peso. And place a cloven hoof on a lucrative one convenient as the bourbon odor. Smokers cough, smolder off the cohiba. If Noah had the benefit of hindsight on his ship, he could have snatched 2 unicorns and left behind the motherfucking pigs. Goddamn pigs, pot-belly pigs, punch-drunk pigs, take money pigs, loudmouth pigs, white low pigs. Let's make a deal. When all the wolves in woolly wigs have puffed and blew the bricks, the skulls of Brooklyn's cruelest pigs will rain on Fulton's newest kicks. As mulish swine of all surrounding counties stiff the gruesomeness, we pass around our pineapples and pull the pins in unison. I will gladly feed you to the breeder once you sacrificed. No pagan or sacrilege, just bacon for scavengers. I will gladly seat you with the chickens, not the passengers. Hopefully the crack in his armor spreads to his avarice. Never that, Wilbur's multiply quicker than triples and 100 triples and fistfuls, but it was all bells and whistles. Bougie this and bougie that. War pig or pussycat. Glitzy to the pork ribs, had the gold leaf the booby traps. Powder pink, double-breasted mess of mud and money waddle off the fire to make a stubborn tummy roggle. And while I don't really know the working details of your tribes, I know that that's one ugly fucking tie. Asshole pigs, goddamn pigs, pot belly pigs, punch drunk party like the Butcher Boys. Cleaver is alive. I'm mosey in a 16 hours of smoke in the misty winter. To see the county fair's blue ribbon winter is dinner. Then dance until the sun has kissed your blisters in the morning as the misery was dormant and divvied in crispy portions. Corporates want to lure him and whore him. Or does he hoard the corporates to expand to more important forums for him? Push the mortar pestle past the ordinary orchard when the frilly border's faded as the product. Mine or yours, pig? Mine. Plus I toss the token where it go. Directly to the worms who shovel shit in yellow snow. This little piggy went to the market with a target and will subsequently know the armor-piercing forks of farmers. Final words for the finer birds taking notes. I dig a chicken pig's ills, that's all folks. Pigs, goddamn pigs, pot-belly pigs, punch-drunk pigs, sick money pigs, loudmouth pigs, white load pigs. Let's make a deal.
I do. Your secrets.
on Lyrical Masterpiece Theater, I will be reading one of my great works, The Maven, The Maven, The Maven, The Maven, The Maven. After years of mindless content and frivolous crap, a man became dissatisfied with the condition of rap. The powers dumbed the lyrics down and made the listeners adapt. Soon his mental plague became a blinding mist on the map. But his vision was never phased because his eyes had been raised. Over time he came of age and then grew wise in his ways. He reflected on the great artist and summoned the gall. Then he envisioned hearing one writer who encompassed them all. To overcome this ignorance, nothing was stalled in his thirst. He spent hours collecting, reading, studying all of their works. Traveled all over the planet where great thoughts were bestowed. Sat with preceptors and sages from all parts of the globe. Read relentlessly for weeks before deciding to speak. He mastered every vocal tone and every writing technique. A scholarly product with a self-made prodigy conscious. He memorized past, present, and future bodies of knowledge. Organized it, knowing the solution soon to be born. His next step compiled it all into a humanly form. Though he was eloquent and delivered words with intricate timing and possessed lyrical skill, he had no interest in rhyming. So he ventured down to his lab, which had been his escape. And after working for 20 days straight, an image was shaped. He deposited all his wisdom, every infinite trait. And when he finished, he rendered what he had invented was great. His creation laid on the gurney, once summoned it rose, and instantly began to compose the most dominant flows. Every hour of the day, a different style he created. And when he spoke, every man, woman, and child could relate. Just when it seemed the population might be hurled to its grave, the man smiled because he thought now that the world would be saved. And soon the sky is where the mental surface would be. He had successfully manufactured the perfect MC. The intellect that passed to his brain, the masses obtained. And within days, the nature of the game had drastically changed. Through his sovereign will, deep marvelous thoughts were revealed. And those who held on to the madness got slaughtered with skill. Lyrical prototype who wrote words for the love, not wages. And the greatness of his rap pages would pass through the ages. The motivation to make meaningful songs was contagious. Each writer evolved daily through his creative stages. The negative ideologies of life were uprooted. The first 365-day cycle concluded. But on the 366th day it was strange. The creation the man had brought to life was starting to change. Accolades under his name and international fame, until totally uncontrollable he slowly became. Intoxicated by his own flame, so arrogance reigned. The insane notion of world dominance mastered his brain. Exploitation of the game through the skill that he used. He had evolved into the same thing he was built to remove. Trained and ingrained in his memory was unmatchable ability. Natural skill indeed, but he was lacking in humility. The builder watched his dream disappearing in haste. With tears in his face, his creation was clearly a waste. The mistake that he made in making a rapper of that caliber, he focused on talent and knowledge, but added no character. Now it's racking the streets with a savage mystique. Deadly havoc he wreaked with every paragraph he would speak. So the man searched traveling roads, famished and cold, looking for a mechanical load in tyrannical mode. Since he designed him, he felt it mandatory to find him. The goal was to catch him, deactivate, then realign him. As he searched and explored, he saw things were worse than before. Heard a murderous roar, followed up by verses of war. He ran up to a door where a stranger took him the key. Once inside, a voice straight ahead said, "Looking for me." And there he was, with a smile as if he liked that he found him. His mic was astounding, plus he had disciples around him. As the man approached, he heard these three words: "I dare you." He said, "You're not yourself. Come back to the lab, I'll repair you. I can't have you killing rap, so come with me, I implore it." He said, "Your existence versus mine, I'll battle you for it." He thought and said, "Oh, no, I want no parts of a flow. Why would you turn against the man who taught you all that you know. That's when he laughed and said, I'm the one that you should kneel to. He said, you stupid fool, you didn't build me, I built you. Programmed you to be like me, I propelled this confusion. Every detail of our histories a spell, a delusion. When I tried to teach you my plans, you rebelled on the movement. So I banished you and held you in a hellish seclusion. My craziest deeds, you were just unable to heed. So the idea that you created me, I made you believe. The man said I worked on this for years, it's lies that you speak. He said I made it to appears years, it's only been weeks. I'm the architect of you, and every bar that was formed. Raise your right sleeve, I'm sure you've seen that scar on your arm. How I assembled you is too complex to try to describe. But if you peel that scar, you'll notice several wires inside. You were my greatest masterpiece, top of the line of my clones. But I developed you so well, you gained a mind of your own and started spreading conscious thought, east, west, south to the north. So I drew you out of solitude to finish you off. And though it's definite, you possess several lyrical elements. You're scared of expressing it, that's why you're vocally hesitant. Discouraged, the man dropped his head and said it's no use. Looked at the wires in his arm and slowly pulled them loose. Then both good and bad ideologies mentally flash. The conscious forces and the wicked forces instantly clash. And everybody in the room vaporized in a flame. Till eventually the two men were all who remain. The anarchy that ensued caused the world to divide, and the followers of both sides began to collide. And then the ceiling opened up and they both looked in the sky. There they saw the giant silhouette of a much bigger guy. He commanded everything to stop and nobody moved. He said this war is over right now and both of you lose. You lose because you took the talent that you possessed and got obsessed with power and used it to conquer the rest. See, you were blessed with the best, given the lyrical rod. You didn't build this man, that was a deceptive facade. The other man said, I knew it, but sir, how did I lose? The giant said you had the skill to challenge, but you refused. He said, I came to fix him back, so this fight I'd avoid. He said, some things can never be fixed, they must be destroyed. And though you tried to reason with him, don't believe you succeeded. Many were lost because they didn't have the wisdom they needed. So you deleted all your hard work, your moment was here. But you failed because your power wasn't strong as your fear. This test is completed. They said, who are you? Then I spoke and said, my name is K. Reno, and I created you both.
Completely unfair. And I realized something today. It's not just about me and my dream of doing nothing, it's about all of us together. We don't have a lot of time on this earth. We weren't meant to spend it this way. Human beings were not meant to sit in little cubicles staring at computer screens all day, filling out useless forms and listening to 8 different bosses drone on about mission statements. You worked your ass off hoping for a promotion, something. Years and years and years gone. And you're gonna go in tomorrow, they're gonna throw you out on the street. You know why? So that stock will go up 1/4 of a point. Let's make that stock go down. And let's take enough money out of that place so that we never ever have to sit in a cubicle ever again.
Put down and pay. Pick up and that put down and pay. Pick up and that put down and pay. Pick up and that. Pick up and that put down and pay. Pick up and that put down and pay. Pick up and that put down and pay. Pick up and that. Pick up and that.
You're a laborer, and I'm the one profiting from your labors. You aren't really human. Well, it goes right back to the slave dealers who used to take babies out of the hands of black mothers on the plantations. And the mothers would cry, and the slave owners would turn and say, with a perfectly straight face to the slave buyer who's buying the baby, oh, don't worry, they don't feel emotions the way you do.
Oppressor of the proletariat!
Then